Chaos Orcs are totally a thing in Warhammer lore. See, look, they're right there. You disagree with me, I hate you, and you're a dumb tourist. In all seriousness, I was actually just looking through some old Inquisition codices, and I found that artwork of a Chaos Corrupted Orc, and I thought that a Nurgle Plague Orc would actually be a really fun conversion. So I started with the new Kill Team Rekka Crew kit. I decided to build them as tank busters. You can also do a melee option, but I feel like the classic ranged rocket tank busters would be cool. Rocket orcs are fun, and I typically favor showing my orcs list because I love losing games. I was also lucky enough to pick up this big bag of Nurgle Death Guard bits at an auction a while back. It only cost me $8. I think that was a great deal, and made it super easy to add that Chaos Corruption and that Nurgle influence into these models. I started with the knob first, and immediately found myself at a crossroads. I really like the sculpt, especially with the dual-wield rocket pistols. When converting minis, I usually find it hard to bring myself to remove detail or do too much to alter a sculpt I really like. So for this first miniature, I went relatively light on the conversion work. I just picked up this really nice new electric Dremel tool, and I used to shave away some of the material and detail and leave behind the surface of his gut plate there flat. Next, I went through my Death Guard bits and was glad to see that there was this decapitated head connected by some bizarre flesh tube that would rest perfectly on that area and then connect back into the orc without any additional manipulation having to be done. Next, I found this really cool shoulder pad that you see there. It has this kind of fly demon growing out of it, and I added it in place of one of the standard orc armor pieces on the shoulder. Finally, I took the basic boss pole, and I added to the top of one of the Death Guard power packs. The super glue ended up leaving some texture, but I didn't mind it too much since it sort of adds the more ramshackle look that both Death Guard and orcs tend to have. So on the second orc, I wanted to put more of a focus into green stuff. I started off with a regular orc. I added this engorged Death Guard chest piece, and I left one of the arms unattached. So then I mixed up some green stuff and began to mold a series of tentacles. I took his weapon and started trimming off the one hand that held the rocket launcher. This didn't need to be too completely smooth since it was going to get covered by green stuff. I just need to make sure that it was a relatively flat surface that sort of conformed to the basic geometry of the weapon. I attached the tentacles to the arm and began to wind them around the weapon. Since this guy was going to be the squad member that had the extra rocket options, I also added those to the back, and I added a second tentacle that was reloading the extra ordnance onto his back launcher. You can see that I'm using this silicone sculpting tool to help manipulate the clay, and I'm also trying to add in some extra detail. However, I unfortunately did make the mistake of using my bare hands with this, so I did unfortunately add in some fingerprints. Learn from my mistakes, make sure to wear gloves when you're doing something like this. At this point in the project, I went to my local game store and I picked up some Nurglings, wanting to add a couple to this conversion. I took one of the regular orc bodies and started to hollow out his abdomen. Once that was done, I started test fitting in a Nurgling and trimming him to fit inside the gap. I also ended up adding one of the Nurglings to the top of a bomb squig. However, with that done, I moved over to green stuff and added strands of what I thought looked like intestines sort of rended apart as the Nurgling was tearing his way out of his body, and I gave him this sort of horn-like growth at the side of his head, and I just finished off the conversion with a Death Guard shoulder pad. For the next orc, I wanted something very highly deteriorated. Like when you look at a lot of the old Nurgle artwork, they almost seem more undead. So I started off by taking a basic orc head and taking the Dremel and sanding away the entirety of the lower jaw. Once that was gone, I took one of those green stuff tendrils and I sculpted it sort of around his chest piece and drooping down to be like an engorged tentacle that was now growing out of the remnants of his mouth and tongue. This guy ended up being one of my favorites. It really reminds me of a head option I used to use back when I played World of Warcraft. For the last orc, I used a chest piece and horn from the Plague Marines kit, and then I gave him a mutated arm from the CSM Possessed kit. When it came to converting up the squig, I decided to play around with some green stuff and ball bearings or to make these sort of overgrown pustules and boils. This definitely would have looked better if I had some slightly smaller ball bearings, especially given the relatively small size of the squig and the tremendous size of the boil on the thing's body. Especially, I think a couple of different sizes would have looked good, but still, I effectively just used the green stuff to sculpt a bit of excess irritated flesh and then stuck the ball bearings in. And then I did a few smaller balls of green stuff, let those dry, and stuck those in later. Even though it's definitely over the top, I think given that these are bomb squigs, and their whole role is to charge into the enemy, I think it makes sense to do a sort of double payload, one of Nurgle Rot and one of a more conventional explosive. Or at least that's how I'm justifying getting away with some lazier kit bashing that doesn't require me to actually buy stuff that I don't already have lying around the house. When it came to basing, I left it very simple for now, just PVA glue and sand. You can see that I specifically left some gaps in the PVA glue, where the plain base can shine through, and that's for some water effects that we'll be doing at the very end of this project. I was extremely pleased with the way that the models looked after a prime. When I was deciding how to paint them, I wanted something that would accent the work that I had already put in with the conversion and would allow that all that green stuff work and that conversion work to be the star of the show. So I started from a purple base coat. I decided to dry brush white and do a sort of slap chop style. I was really hoping that the purple would shine through here and give an interesting undercoat to some of those colors, especially the skin tone. I knew that I wanted to go for a more pallid, desaturated skin tone compared to what orcs usually have, something a little bit more like a plague bearer, and really harken back to the fact that these are a Nurgle army. And I thought the purple undercoat would look really nice here. Although, looking back, I should have been a little bit more patient with this step. The purple and the white did give some materials a bit of a strange look, especially in that deep recess, like on the right side of this guy, sort of in that hard-to-reach area blocked by his gun. It did look a little strange. I ended up going in with some thinned-down black paint just to block out some of that really harsh purple that the contrast paint didn't really look too great over. Maybe an even darker purple base coat, and then you gradually build up purples then into pinks before doing the white dry brush would look good. Maybe you could even do that through an airbrush, and then only the final pure white highlight with a dry brush, you don't lose all that texture. I don't know, but maybe something to try out if I ever come back to these guys. With the dry brushing finished, I went through and started doing some of the base coats with Army Paint or Speed Paint. Malignant Green gave that nurgly desaturated skin color I wanted. I went in later with thinned down purple alchemy and used it to pick out some of the softer tissues around the nose and lips, any scar tissue, and more heavily corrupted areas. For larger sections of Nurgle corruption like the big tentacles, I wet blended the two colors together and used that to form a gradient. For the Nurglings, I just eyeballed a thinned down mix of Malignant Green and Orc Skin. While I was brainstorming the color scheme for this kill team, I knew I wanted them to tie in with an existing Nurgle warband. The idea being that Plague Marines were experimenting on Orc fungus in order to further their own goals, but there was a breach of containment, the corrupted Orcs went free, and now they've looted their gear, and that is visible on their armor. So I looked through a bunch of the existing Nurgle warbands, especially a lot of those that were introduced since 8th edition, when Death Guard got their new range. There were a lot of newer Plague Marine color schemes, but a lot of them looked a little bit too similar to Death Guard in my opinion. You saw the same couple of colors over and over again. So instead I chose a little bit more of an old favorite. I like the idea of it being the Purge since I loved their lore, and it made sense with the story that I cooked up for these guys, but the green was a little too muted, so to contrast that better, I went for a slightly brighter green that you normally see with the Purge. It really helps highlight how sickly and mutated the orcs now look. The Glooming Lords also basically have the same color scheme, although they don't have as much lore. I'm only seeing about 2 paragraphs in the total of their lore, and that's only from like basically a small excerpt in the 8th edition Death Guard Codex, so I thought the Purge gives me a lot more to work with for homebrew and lore for these guys. But when it came to actually translating that scheme onto the miniatures, I went for mostly black for most of the armor panels and the shirts. I did a lighter, very slightly lighter dark gray tone for the pants. And then I picked out a few specific armor panels with green, and then across the model I added in bits of metallic silver and gold, and then a warm brown for the leather straps and boots. I also diluted down some red colored flesh wash, and I applied that over the entirety of the skin just to add a little bit more life and a little bit of discoloration in the recesses, although I didn't get any footage of that, so my apologies. Now, originally I thought of using either a product like Streaking Grime or some oil washes over the entire model. However, I actually was really happy with how the models looked at this stage, so I decided to forgo those and simply start highlighting up with brighter colors of the original base tone. For most of these, it was pretty self-explanatory. A medium gray to highlight up the black, a more vivid bright green to highlight the green. However, for the pink fleshy bits, I went for a light skin tone as the highlight layer that allowed that pink discoloration to remain in the recesses while giving a more realistic, quote-unquote, corrupted, mutated flesh. In order to add a little bit more weathering, griminess, and visual interest to models, I thinned down some rust effect, and then I went over all of the models and any bits that are going to be metal, so that's even like some of the black and green armor plates, and obviously a lot of those metallic steel areas. I just sort of dabbed it on. I looked for particular recesses or near rivets, or just areas that I thought looked kind of flat and plain, and I just sort of stippled this on. I didn't really bother with being extremely precise or uniform with this. I thought it actually made it look better if some models had more rusted armor, others less so, or specific armor plates were a bit more rusted. But one piece of advice I would say is don't treat this like a wash. Don't go over the entire model and be super liberal with it, but just really have a little bit of intentionality and pick out certain areas on the model that you think would benefit from the addition of a little bit of discoloration. For the base itself, I did a very simple base coat of a dark brown, dry brushed up with a slightly lighter color. However, I really wanted them to be on a Nurgle Blight Swamp. To sell this, I picked up some clear UV resin and a small amount of Malignant Green and Orc Skin speed paint. Higher intensity products like acrylic ink would be preferable, since with speed paint you risk diluting the resin too much and stopping it from properly curing. In order to avoid this, I recommend you test out the resin before potentially ruining your nice minis with uncured product. This is where those untextured gaps we left when we were making the bases come into effect. You're going to take an old brush and use that to fill in those gaps you left, and then you're going to cure it for, I would say, like 2 to 3 minutes just to be safe with a UV light. The end result adequately captures the look of this brackish, sort of opaque swamp water. After that, I just went in with some gamer grass tufts, gave them a black rim, and brought the project to a close. But wait, there's more! And some commandos.